other day, I walked into a shop. I had decided it's time to buy an iPhone. I walked into a shop, service provider that provides me with my broadband, my landline, telephone and the television. And they're always sending me offers about their mobile. Now, I'm actually with a different service provider, and I've been thinking about getting a new phone and decided it's time to get an iPhone. Now, I walked into Virgin Media, and I know that they do not have the iPhone. I've done some research on prices and done some research on networks. I walked in and I walked up to the salesperson, said hello to me, how can I help? And I said, I've decided to get an iPhone. Now I know you don't sell them here, but I'm a Virgin Media customer and I thought I'd just come in and why don't I want an iPhone? The salesperson turned to me and said, well, I've got one. I was just about to say thank you very much, you've made up my mind, I have completely decided this is what I want, and go and buy it from the store down the road. When he carried on, he said, but I wouldn't have got one if I know what I know now. What do you know? The salesman was pacing my experience enormously. Now, he was pacing my body language, he was pacing the way that I was moving, standing. He'd obviously had some sales training in these areas. He was making the same amount of eye contact that I was making. So he was going through a lot of the things that we looked at the beginning of the course. Now, when I said to him, I have decided I'm going to buy an iPhone and I know you don't sell them in here. Why shouldn't I get one? Now, if he had said to me anything like, oh, you shouldn't get one because we've got better network coverage. You shouldn't get one because we can offer you a cheaper phone. You shouldn't buy one because actually the camera's not very good. Or you shouldn't buy one because this, or this, or this, or this, or this. It wouldn't have been effective in persuading me. He said, to be honest, I've got an iPhone. He paced my experience. He said, I've decided to get an iPhone. In fact, I've decided and I've gone that stage further and I've got one. A very bold move for the salesman. Why shouldn't I get an iPhone? Well, to be honest, I've got one. But I wouldn't have got one if I know what I knew now. And then he took a step backwards towards the range of smartphones that they have. And I took a step forwards towards him. Absolutely textbook perfect. So he paced utterly my reality. Yeah, I decided to get an iPhone as well. And then he built enormous intrigue. But I wouldn't have got one if I know what I knew now. And he didn't tell me what he knew. He didn't carry on. He just said, I wouldn't have got one if I know what I know now. And he left me hanging. Not only that, he then took a step towards the iPhone. He non-verbally led me. I then walked towards him. It wasn't till I'd taken the same step forward that I realised later on that he led me. He was matching all my body language. He was even matching the predicates. Whether he was doing this deliberately or whether it was just something that came naturally to him, I don't know. However, he matched my experience perfectly. I've decided to get one. In fact, I've got one. And then he built massive intrigue. And then he led me. He took a step back and I followed. Now we've looked at pacing. We've looked at matching and pacing other people's behaviours. He paced me utterly with 5 words that were way more effective than all of the rest, but it was completely congruent because of the rest of the pacing he was doing with his body language, matching and mirroring. Well, I've got an iPhone. paced me with those 5 words. And then he led me with another very short sentence. But I wouldn't have got on if I know what I know now. He created a state of intrigue and desire in me. And then he didn't say, would you like to know what I know? He walked towards the smartphones, took one step backwards towards them, and led me non-verbally. And I took the step towards him. So, today, we know about pacing people's experience, and it can be bold, like this, and it can be very quick, like that was. Create an intense state of intrigue in the other person, and don't supply the resolution. And rather than ask them if they want to know verbally, it's far more powerful to ask them non-verbally, by a smile, a nod towards the product, a nod towards the thing that it represents, the idea that's over somewhere, a step back, get them to step towards you, and then you're leading their experience. Create intense states of intrigue. Have fun with this one today.